Welcome back in, everybody. Another edition of the 4D Chess Dynasty Trade Show coming at you right now. As always, please rate and review on podcast form. Helps us out a ton. And on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. So many people that watch it are unsubscribed. If you could do us a huge favor, please sub helps us out so damn much. But without further ado, let me introduce the better half of 4D Chess. Adam, how we doing tonight? Adam, I see, for those of you watching on YouTube, there's some fancy graphics in the background. I see that Kyle Pitts thing looks a little bit familiar, buddy, like it may have been a thumbnail at one point.
You ever? I feel like I've seen it somewhere. I can't put my thumb on it, though. I've seen it somewhere, Yeah, man, we're excited. We're going to keep growing this thing and keep bringing you the trades that you bring to us. So let's dive into it, Mike. What do we got this week?
Well, let's pull it up and kick it off with a trade of your doing. Patron Bestball League, right? That you and I are in together. You acquired Christian Watson, a 24 first and a 24 second, and you sent away one Mr. T. Higgins. So this is, if it's like any damn best ball that, I run deep starting rosters, deep lineups, deep lineups, deep starting spots, and deep rosters. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 plus damn people. So Christian Watson, a 24 first and a 24 second for one T. Higgins. How'd you feel about this, sending it away? Obviously you liked it, otherwise you wouldn't have hit accept or sent the offer if that was the case.
Yeah, I think, Mike, for me, T. Higgins in the best ball format like we're running here, like the one this league is in, like I'm going to need basically in the range of that 2 first in order to get rid of him. Because even on a productive struggle, Mike, like, and everyone listening, you don't have to get rid of a T. Higgins. He's young enough to where I can keep him. But if I can basically multiply assets and shots at the dartboard in best ball, Mike, that's why I made this trade. The 24 first is further out, and Dan he's looking like he's going to contend. Blitz, as you might know him on Discord. So maybe it's later, maybe it's not. I'm taking on that risk, but I'm going to start pick hoarding. I think the thing for me, Mike, that put it over the top was Watson. I don't know what he's going to be, but I'm still taking the shot on him, and I still get a second. I think it's a fair deal on both sides, but I'm curious to see what all the viewers think, everyone listening, and what you think, Mike.
I would say this, too. Let's just caveat it. That's why I also pointed out that it's best ball, because I don't think, Adam, I'd make this trade in a lineup league.
I would not either. Nope.
Christian Watson's fine, but, this class is kind of doo-doo, and he's going at the end of the first round. So, he's more like a second. So it'd be a first. Yeah,
he's like an early
2
second.
Seconds. Yeah, and it's a first 2 years out to boot. Correct. I don't think in a lineup league I'd do this ever.
Nope. I would not do this in lineup either, just to be clear. No. I think that's sometimes the differences in best ball and lineup. There's enough here. Like, Mike, because here's the thing. In a best ball league, I don't have to pick when and if Watson pops, right? No. The second and the first, I'm willing to wait a little longer because I don't have to wait and press the button on those guys. T. Higgins, I'd be so much surer on in a lineup league. Pressing the button, T. Higgins is going to be my guy. But when I get 3, I feel like legit assets, even though the first is further out and the second's further out in best ball, I'm willing to do it. Whereas in lineup, I'm not doing this in lineup. I'm just not.
All right. Conversely, say you had a contending team, right, Adam? Are you going to pay this in a best ball league? I think it's right on the edge of where, this seems reasonable, what Blitz paid you for T. Higgins, even in a best ball league. I like it from your side for the productive struggle and asset multiplication and the whole thing that we get into all the time. But sure. Conversely, for Blitz, what do you feel about it? I actually like it for him too, even in best ball format. I think if I'm going to go get a receiver, it's going to be one that I'm pretty high on and I like. And, Christian Watson isn't setting the world on fire right now. So in the 24 first and second, it's not a 23 first and second, something a little bit more immediate. I think it's fair value on both sides, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you here. I think, Mike, if this is probably about where I'm going to pay T. Higgins, or a wide receiver that I would call a top 10 guy, this is probably about the spot that I feel comfortable. It's not a 23 first, and it picks are 2 years out, and Watson's, we don't know, man. Not a great prospect, obviously. If he hits, That'd be awesome. But he's not someone you're like, man, Christian Watson's going to be a stud. We know it for sure. I would pay this for T. Higgins on a contender in best ball. Typically, I'd like to get. I don't like to do a lot of 3-for-1s, but if I was going to do a 3-for-1 as far as assets go, you give me a guy like T. Higgins in the top 10, I'm willing to pay this for that.
I like it, man. I think it was a good deal all around. And just so we're clear, I would not make this move in a lineup league on Adam's side. I would definitely make it in a lineup league on Blitz's side.
Blitz's side, yes, 100%.
In a best ball league, I think it's a pretty good deal for both sides. So, number 2, Blitz makes the show again, right? Had to put him in there twice. All
Normally,
right, so
back-to-backs on the start off the show are going to be Mike and Adam. Blitz starts it off with a back-to-back. Let's go.
he acquired Justin Fields and a 23 first and sent away Trevor Lawrence, a 23 third and a 23 fourth. The picks are on the third and the fourth are just kind of irrelevant. I'm not going to touch on them too much. Fields in a first for Trevor Lawrence. How you feel about that? I'm fucking stoked for that down tier. This is why it's the tier down king. Lineup best ball. I'm over the moon, man. Well fucking done by Blitz here.
Yeah, in my opinion, Mike, there's not a lot to say here. I think you and I both are higher on Lawrence than consensus, and we're both higher on Fields than consensus. And to me, it's a pretty clear tier where, listen, I'll give you your preference of any one of these three guys, Lawrence, Fields, and Lance. You have a preference in whatever order. I know the majority are going to say Lance first. No arguments. But they're in a tier. There shouldn't be a big difference in cost, really, in my mind, from Fields and Lawrence and Lance. If you want to be a little bit, that's fine. If you're going to get it first to go from Lawrence to Fields, Mike, in that same tier, I don't care what my team's doing. If it's rebuilding, contending, like it does not matter. The difference from that first to the third and fourth is so big that I'm willing to take the shot on Fields, even if I have him third in the tier.
I think that's why I enjoy doing tier rankings so much more than anything else is the fact that generally if I'm in the same tier in my ranks, like I'm just looking for pretty much anything. Now, generally, like if you just toss me a third, I'm probably not inclined, like because I have my guys. But, a couple thirds, a second, like, oh, I'm in. Like I'll trade within the tier all day. You're going to give me a first to trade within the same tier? Holy Santa Claus shit, do I get excited. So, like you mentioned, for us, maybe right or wrong, we're higher on consensus on both of these guys, but you're 100% right in the fact that they are in the same tier. They are in the exact same tier. Like, if we're in a startup draft, Adam, we're picking right next to each other, and these are the best two quarterbacks left on the board, and you go Fields, best believe I'm going Lawrence, or vice versa. Same principles apply. So
100%, man, 100%.
To say that there's a first separating them is insane to me. So, hell, great job by Blitz here. I love this trade for him so damn much.
Same, man. And I think, when you're watching this, there will already be a video that's going to be coming out tomorrow. The Tier Down King gives you his thoughts on Justin Fields. I know this is a nice trade for you to see right before that video debuts.
Love it. Love it. I do love me some Justin Fields, and by all reports, he's looking really good in training camp. So one of those times where like you read a training camp report and you're like, oh, it's my guy, so I'm gonna believe it. If it's not your guy, then you don't believe it.
Yeah. What is this? Yep.
All right. Third trade we got here. Man, we're sticking with the Trevor Lawrence today. We got Zach Wilson, Tyler Algier, and a 23 first being acquired for one Trevor Lawrence. Now, I do believe this happened in a Best Ball League. These are a couple guys that we know. Both patrons, member of our Discord, part of Destination Devi as well, Ben Mason and Brandon. So what do you think? What side do you want? Do you want Zach Wilson, Algier in the first, or do you want the Trevor Lawrence side here?
I'd say this one's pretty well done, Mike, actually, in my opinion. If I'm rebuilding, I think I would definitely take the Wilson Algier first, especially in best ball. Like, I understand if you're not a Zach Wilson guy, if you don't really want to do this. But, man, if I'm contending, you got to believe in Lawrence is the thing. Like, I really like Lawrence. I think he's going to be good this year. But there are people that don't think he's enough on the contending side, even if the dynasty value is higher. So that would be my only pause with Lawrence. But for me, I'm very in on Lawrence. I think this deal is well constructed. I like Lawrence if you're trying to go get it and you're just unsure in Zach Wilson's side. But in best ball, I'm like 3 assets where a 23 first and Wilson is over there. Like if you believe in Wilson, I'm all aboard to the other side too.
I think that is the exact pivot point that you're talking about. It depends on your feelings for Zach Wilson here. This is more like what you would see for a tier down. So the previous one was Fields and Lawrence and a first being added. This is more like the traditional, because there is a step down. There is a tier gap between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Now, how big, how many tiers? Definitely up for debate. So I'm fully with you on that. I think this hinges completely on how you feel about Zach Wilson. So I don't know, maybe Ben's been listening to us because I'm kind of a Zach Wilson guy, throwing bombs and banging moms. Maybe I'm a little bit more in on Zach Wilson than some people. But from Brandon's perspective, if this is what it costs to kind of get off of that and step up, make a jump up to somebody that you are high on and convicted on, like Trevor Lawrence, I get it. I think the best ball thing always just kind of plays in my, the 3 for 1. It's like, I almost always want to lead the 3 for 1 side, but I do understand it from the other one fully.
Yeah, I think, Mike, I'll say another thing too. This is something I think we need to talk about on the trade show sometimes, not at severe length, but especially from a portfolio standpoint. Now, if you're watching this and you're only in a couple leagues and you're just not willing to take the risk on a Zach Wilson because you don't believe, like, I'm not going to fault you for it. But a lot of people like myself and Mike, and I know Ben does, Brandon do, right? Like, they're in a lot of leagues. So sometimes it's okay to take some exposure on Zach Wilson, even if you're not overly bullish because, well, if he does hit, now I have the first and I have Algier to play with here, right? Where if you're overexposed on a Lawrence, like, portfolio, and if you're only playing in 1 or 2 leagues, I think it can differ sometimes on if you are willing to make a move like this.
Yeah, I get it. I should probably be more cognizant of that too in my leagues. Being in 30 leagues, how heavily I am exposed to some people, but I just can't help myself from drafting or acquiring the players that I like. I like what I like. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go to McDonald's and order something different because I want to expand my portfolio. No.
I'm basic,
my ass
man.
is in there.
I know what I like.
Quarter pounder with cheese guy every goddamn time. Let's go.
They know my order when I come through the window,
Yes. All right, number 4. We got a trade here. Evan has made the show before, not in a good way for you with this Cam Akers one, but how do we feel about this one? So he sent away Elijah Mitchell, a 23 first, a 24 first, and a 23 second. In return, acquired Jonathan Taylor. Now, this is a lineup league, and the context behind it is the 24 first is obviously his own. He thinks it's going to be late. The 23 first that he sent away, he also said is from a contender and going to be late as well. So late 23 first, late 24 first, 23 second, and Elijah Mitchell for one Jonathan Taylor in a lineup league. How you feel about this one?
Yeah, so Mike, I think this is in best ball, like, this would be a little tougher for me to do. In lineup though, Mike, especially if it's a shorter lineup league. So I'm looking at basically 2 firsts and a second, and then whatever you consider Mitchell. Now, if I'm Mr. Tailgater, like, I understand the reason why you would make the opposite trade. And conversely, Mike, for Evan, I do think this is where the opposite of the Cam Akers deal, where I'm screaming, why, Adam? Like, I get this one, man. I get this one, Evan. I do. I get you. If you're ready to go, Mike. Now, people might remember last week when all these picks are in there for Chase. The positional scarcity difference for me is a lot of the reason why I'm willing to make this trade, especially in lineup, Mike, knowing that it's lineup. If your team's ready to go and you have the depth to afford this, like, Jonathan Taylor can win you a league. Like, we saw last year. I mean, he was unbelievable, and we still believe him to be that. So this is probably top dollar because Mitchell's flirting around that first and second. I mean, you're paying 2 firsts and two seconds, or you're paying 3 firsts and a second, however you look at it. So it's a lot to pay for Taylor, but in a lineup league, Mike, I'm okay going to get Taylor if I have to do this to go win a ship.
Yeah, in the lineup league, I want the JT side pretty easily. Best ball, I can make a case still for Jonathan Taylor in best ball just because of my feelings on Elijah Mitchell. But to quote one Scott Connor, sometimes it's good to place some bets that are a little bit out there. Not so much betting against Jonathan Taylor, but betting for Elijah Mitchell. If Elijah Mitchell were to come back and have a similar type season or maybe expand upon what he did last year and stay relatively healthy, I mean, that could be a hell of a steal if you're talking about a guy who may finish, top end RB2 territory, maybe back end RB1 territory, and you get 2 firsts and a second for Jonathan Taylor. So I'm okay with it. I just say, like, right now with my comfort level between Elijah Mitchell and Jonathan Taylor, if it costs me a couple late first and a late second to go get JT in the lineup league, I'm in. Best ball.
I'm with you.
Best ball, I have a little bit more hesitancy just because of the way I like to play, but I do understand it in the best ball league. Like, it wouldn't be the worst deal. It is definitely not like the Jamar Chase thing. The Jamar Chase one last week was the fact that position is so deep and that it's the most easily acquirable one. Jonathan Taylor leads the running backs, and it's a very shallow position as far as difference makers go. So that's why positional scarcity is so damn important for him. So in a best ball, that's why I say, man, even though the price kind of looks similar, I'd understand it for an elite running back. It's just
Mike, let me ask this real quick because I want to make sure that we touch this. If you're Mr. Tailgater and you're in a lineup league, Mike, and you really need to rebuild, you wouldn't take that other offer? Like, if you're saying, man, this team's not ready to go, I can't. Jonathan Taylor and scoring all these points in my lineup is not going to help me win. Is this a deal that you would consider taking for Jonathan Taylor on Mr. Tailgater's side? Let me ask that.
My only hesitation would be the Elijah Mitchell thing because I think you need to move him, and his window is pretty damn short as far as being relevant just
Agreed.
because of that, the draft capital. He doesn't have the pedigree being in San Francisco. I'd really like to get something else. You know what I mean? Something similar if he had a wide receiver or something along those lines, maybe like a Kenny Pickett, some rookie – like a quarterback that wasn't going to play right away. Kenny Pickett would be a perfect one.
You'd much rather
your only choice in this class. But
I mean, you would much rather in a down tier on a rebuild, either take a different, probably a different position as far as a true down tier. It wouldn't be take a receiver or quarterback in that range. But if this is the best you could get, would you be comfortable trying to then flip Mitchell here? Or is this something you just wouldn't make the deal?
If I had a relatively strong opinion about my league and what I possibly could get out of Mitchell if I pounce at the right time, I think I'd do that.
I just wanted to make sure that point was justified. So, like, Mr. Tailgater, if this is what it's going to take, this is the best type of offer you can get, and you can flip Mitchell. Like, conversely, I'd rather have Evan's side of the deal on a contender, but I also would understand what you're trying to do.
Perfect. All right. This one I really like because you get the good old pick swap in here. So we got on one side Sam Darnold and a 24 first being acquired for Carson Wentz and a 23 second. And this is
Mike,
a
I want to hear your thoughts on this one first.
Listen, Carson Wentz is my guy, even though he plays for Washington. I'll always defend the guy. Super talented. In a lineup league, though, I pretty much want no damn part of Carson Wentz on my lineup squad. Now, best ball is a different story. I'll gladly throw him in as my third, fourth, fifth quarterback, hopefully.
Sure.
and just ride out whatever the hell I get out of Carson Wentz. In a lineup league, I'll be scared to death to start this man. If he's anything more than your QB3 and you don't have two good QB, ones and twos, I'd be pissing my pants. So you get off of him in a lineup league, and you give away your 23 second, but in return, you get somebody back who may get you, like a second in the future. If he beats out Baker Mayfield, somebody's desperate for a quarterback, and you get the pick swap. Like, you go from a second to a first, albeit 2 years out. But I love that forward-thinking ability where let me improve something, in the future. Let me improve some draft capital that I have and give away something that really doesn't matter to me. And even on top of that, I'm going to get a decent lawn dart type quarterback, back that maybe I can flip in season for a second or an early third or whatever the hell it may be. So I love this deal. It's well constructed by T. Sandiford 08. I absolutely am enthralled with how well this deal is.
Yeah, I want the T Sandiford 08 side. I think, Mike, I think here's the thing, too. Like, I think Baker's the better quarterback between him and Darnold, but we don't know what the hell Carolina's going to do for a year. So really, Mike, I think you're getting the better asset. You're getting the best asset in the deal in the 24 first, even if it's late, probably. Like, most people aren't going to pay, and especially in a lineup league, Mike, a first for either one of these guys. So you're getting the first, and you're still having the outside chance of Darnold being the starter, right? You're still having, shit, man, maybe you even get to move Darnold again at some point if he's starting the season. So I think it's savvy for T Sanford 08, man. I like that side of the deal.
Yeah, that one caught my eye just because of you could see the thought process that went into it. It wasn't just a willy-nilly throw some stuff out there deal. Like, I have a clear path that I'm taking with what I'm trying to accomplish, so I love it.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's move on.
All right, so we have Joe Mixon, Michael Pittman, Pat Freiermuth, and a 23 third being acquired for Jonathan Taylor and a 23 second. So we've had a couple Trevor Lawrence deals. Now we have a couple. This is JT deal number 2. Joe Mixon, Pittman, Freiermuth, 23 third, Taylor, and a 23 second. Which side do you got?
Do we know if this is lineup or best ball?
I do believe it is a lineup league, Adam.
Okay. Lineup, I could definitely make more of a case for Taylor here. But, man, I think Pittman is a guy that he has a really good chance to break out even more than he already did last year. Like, it's a really good asset. Freiermuth in lineup is where, like, it makes it a little tougher for me. Like, still a guy I want, but he's not going to give you a positional advantage. He's still someone you're going to start almost every week unless you have one of the studs. So I definitely get what Huday's doing. Huday's also showing the colors, man, going to Joe Mixon. I think my issue, though, Mike, is like Joe Mixon's a guy I want to get off of really more so than I want to acquire. I think this is a pretty good deal, but I'll be honest, man. Like, if I had to do this, like if I had the juice, I would take the Taylor side. But man, if you need the depth, like if this is a longer starter league, man, I that's a lot of juice on the other side with Mixon, Pittman, and Freiermuth.
I wanted to say the Taylor side, but the more and more I look at it, the more and more I like Joe Mixon. Now, one, we'll just throw it out there. If this is best ball, it's not even close for me.
Not close, period.
Lineup league, like I'm thinking like, okay, maybe start 10, start 9. Do I go the JT side? But the thing is, for me, Adam, I think Mixon and Taylor, at least for this year, are going to be relatively close in points. Like Mixon plays in a fantastic offense, which just improved their offensive line, is getting better and better. I don't know how much of a I can pretty safely say that I think JT will outscore Mixon. I just don't know by how much, right? Smaller lineups, right? I want to consolidate into the studs, but I still think they're close. And it's not like Pittman is just a bench depth piece, right? In most teams, he's going to slide in as your wide receiver 2. Maybe if you're really stacked, he's your wide receiver 3, right? And at worst, even in a start 9, he's your flex option.
Correct.
Which, well, that'd be fantastic. Freiermuth is just kind of nice and, a budding tight end. The pick swap, the third to the second, I'm not like too concerned with it. Man, I think even in a lineup league, like a smaller one, I'm almost going to lean the Mixon and Pittman, Freiermuth. Like, give me the package side, even though I generally want to consolidate the studs. And I think it all just hinges on the fact that Mixon and Taylor, at least from like this year's points per game, are probably going to be relatively close. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at.
I get it.
Best ball though, like this isn't a conversation at all. No, this is I love JT to death, but this is not a conversation we'd have.
I think the case can be made, Mike. This is the way I would describe it. I think the case can definitely be made if you have the depth and the assets hoarded. If you're going to pay this for Taylor and start like 9 or 10. After that, like I don't care. Start 11 higher in lineup. I want the Mixon side for sure. And like you said, even in the small ones, man, I can make the case for it. Best ball. Doesn't matter. Start 11, start 12, start 13 lineup. I want Mixon, Pittman, Freiermuth in the third.
The good thing about the deal is like it takes a while to look at it, and it's not a home run slam dunk from either side. Unless it was a best ball league, then it's a home run slam dunk side for the Mixon. Yeah.
Correct. I'm with you. Agreed.
All right, last one we got here from our boy Mello Kyle. He acquired Devontae Adams and Tyler Lockett and sent away T. Higgins and a 23 fourth. The context behind it is he's a contender. This is a lineup league, Adam. You want Adams and Lockett, or do you want Higgins in the fourth?
So best ball easily Devontae Adams and Lockett. Lineup as a contender, I could still see the case, man. Lockett over the fourth by a mile. And shit, like you're burning a lot of age going from Higgins to Adams, but I think Adams still has a chance to outscore Higgins. Like you're burning some dynasty age, but in the point side, Mike, it's easily Adams and Lockett. So the fact that you're getting Lockett thrown in for the fourth, I think offsets any of that age and dynasty value, in my personal opinion, no matter what the format is, whether it's lineup or best ball.
Like the fourth is a lawn dart, and Tyler Lockett's kind of a lawn dart, but a much better lawn dart. We've actually seen him do shit. Now, granted, it's not going to have Russ this year, but what if he gets traded somewhere good, right? Value skyrockets again, and the appeal goes back up. I don't think it's too much of a, I love T. Higgins to death, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that Devontae Adams outscores T. Higgins this year. Now, I don't think we can just take what Adams did in Green Bay and just, copy and paste it into Vegas, but he's still a, one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league. I think he'll be just fine. I do kind of hate burning the age a little bit, but the Lockett for the fourth thing, just like, all right.
It takes it over the top, yeah.
Yeah, I just made up for it right here. I'll gladly take Lockett for a fourth round pick. That's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, even though on lineup, like, I do wonder how often you're going to really feel good about starting Lockett this year with no great quarterback there. But to me, Mike, the other thing, too, is you don't have to be done here. Like, Lockett is still significantly more valuable and more movable than a fourth round pick in 23 is. Like, so you get Adams, who maybe is the better play in points per game already, and then Lockett, whether you're going to start him or not, like you can move him and do more with him later. So, Kyle, man, one of the times where I'm going to give you well done.
Doesn't happen often, but really appreciate it when it happens, Kyle.
It's certainly not every time, Kyle, but I like what you did there, man. Well done, buddy. Well done.
I love it. Well, that's going to do it for us. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, commenting, rating, and reviewing on the podcast. Let us know what you think about these deals. Hit us up on Twitter, too, if you're only listening to podcasts in the car, working out, mowing the lawn, however you consume it. Let us know how you feel about them. Anything you agree with, anything you disagree with. Adam, anything else you want to say before we bounce?
That's it, man. Hey, if you're watching the YouTube video this far, also the podcast form, rate and review. If you're watching the YouTube video, please go down, hit the like, comment. Whether we did horrible, you hate the way we graded it, you love it. We want to hear the comments. We want to hear what you think. And also, if you've watched this far, give us a subscribe. Helps us out tremendously. We appreciate you tuning in. And as always, every single week right here, we're going to grade some of your trades. Go join patreon.com/South Harmon, patreon.com/allgas. Get it.
That'll do it. We're out of here. Peace.